Welcome to the Pritchard Pub. This evening we got Mr. Belmont from Belmont Press Comics. How you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good today.
Awesome. So, right off the bat, how about you introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are. Those listening.
My name is Justin Belmont. I started a company called Belmont Press a few years ago. I've been a comic book collector since about 15 years old. At first, I was into baseball cards. I was a little leaguer, and I used to go to this shop called Ravenswood, which was a shop that sold comic books and baseball cards. But I just originally just bought baseball cards there. But over the the months or so, the years going there, I noticed the comic books, and then I eventually became a comic book collector. And then shortly after that, I discovered marijuana and
Yep.
created my character Smokes from that,
There you
which
go.
is kind of a weird experience. I was just hanging out with my friend. We were drawing, and I just chewed his fox head and threw a pipe in his mouth
Damn.
and called him Smokes, and that's about it. And then years later, I came out with my own comic book and published it on my own. Got some feedback from people that have done it before, but didn't really know what I was doing or anything like that. So I didn't really feel comfortable writing my comic. So I enlisted Mike Barron to do that for me. But I kind of told him how I wanted the story to go.
Yeah. Getting Baron on getting names attached to it is never a bad thing, even if it's just what's the term? Even if it's just like a reference, like even if they just look it over and kind of tell you what they think, because you never know when you could be overlooking something, and sometimes you can actually be skilled enough where your cousin or your friend or even your other comic book creator friend won't catch it, but maybe the professional eye will. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel comfortable writing a comic book and spending all this money on artwork and all this stuff and put together a script, and then the story sucked. You know what I mean? Because I never
Yeah.
wrote a comic book before.
Yeah.
So I was basically shot for the stars. I see Mike Barron every year because he's a local here in Colorado, and he comes to some shows. And I just approached him one day, told him about my comic and what it was all about, and he just said,
That's cool.
I'm in." It was pretty much that easy. I just
That's cool, man.
he's a real easygoing guy. I'm actually going to see him this weekend. We got the Denver Con July 4th weekend, so it's a 4-day show this year. It's the first time it's been 4 days, and I'm stoked for that because we got like Stephen Platt's going to be there, Jay Lee, some big names. Frank Miller was supposed to be there, but he canceled, I guess. But
Yeah.
I usually go every year, something to do.
Yeah. So, dude, so you have like a pretty classic origin story for your character with the first drawing of it. I think I did see the first drawing on your landing page for.
It's one of the first drawings. I'm not sure which one was the first. It was probably just a head, like a head sketch.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the earliest drawing that I have that's still around.
Yeah. And then the origin story of the comic itself with Baron just approaching him or whatever. That's also kind of like I have a background in music and band stuff.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it just sounds like a lot of those what are those called? Just the wonder stories, the too good to be true stories that you hear with bands. Like, oh, I just approached
Yeah.
John Lennon, and then
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I approached Bob Layton.
yeah.
I told him I was getting married. That I'm a big fan. He sees me all the time at the shows. I'm getting commissions from him. And I
Yeah.
asked him, would you want to be a part of my comic book? He said, you know what? Something small. So I had him ink my cover.
And that's the thing. He's like, you know what? When somebody says that, there's like a bunch of other alternate realities where they didn't do it. They were just like, no, fuck off.
Yeah, not everybody's going to want to draw a pot smoking fox or anything like that. I have been rejected. I'm not like a superhuman or something. I can get anybody to do anything I want, but you never know if you don't ask. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen? Why could have told me no? I'm busy. I got
Yeah.
stuff going on. I'm
I'm
not
Mike.
reading a book about a pot smoking fox. Get the fuck out of here, kid.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Any of that could have happened, but you never know. You know what I mean? And if you
yeah.
want to work with somebody, maybe they like your energy. Maybe they like you. Maybe they will say yes. You know?
That's an important thing. You know, selling yourself. You got to get, because like that's the thing. Do you think he would have reacted the same way if he would have just seen like a very cold like standard like representation of the idea presented in front of him in some way, like I don't know, in the form of an email or whatever, or compare that to meeting him in person, interacting with him, you know, telling him your name, looking the man in the eye, you know. So like when he looks you in the eye, it's like he can see the passion there, right? So I don't know. You compare those things, they're you can't even compare them, to be honest. It's just like he can size you up and decide if he actually has a good feeling about it, rather than just looking at the concept. Because I think just dope smoking fox ticks on the government. I might be too busy. Same thing presented from a genuine dude that like
Mhm.
seems like he's into it. Okay, all right, yeah. You know what? You know what I mean? That's when that you know what
Yeah,
comes
you
out.
never know, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's easier to turn down somebody over an email or something like that versus
yeah,
meeting them in person, shaking their hand. They maybe
hmm,
recognize you from past signings and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's the other thing. It wasn't just random chance. You did actually kind of apply a little bit of pressure there by coming back, returning, right? Becoming a familiar face, so he recognized you, right?
yeah, I've seen him before. He comes every year, so
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been to his table. Probably didn't know me by name, but sometimes like artists and writers, they can recognize people just by what they look like, and they'll just
Yeah.
see a face and they know they've seen them before, but maybe not know from where or whatever. But stuff
Yep,
like
I know
that.
that. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in energy and stuff like that. Sometimes you meet somebody and you get a weird feeling about them. You don't trust them or whatever for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Oh
Not
yeah.
everybody believes that. I told my sister that before. You're crazy. There's no energy around you.
Did you tell her about how the human heart generates a magnetic field?
No, it
Because that's
does.
energy. Yeah.
Well, I thought we just have an aura around
No,
us, and
genuinely, no, like we genuinely do, not even in a woo woo way, but like yeah, your heart, that action of pumping a liquid through there, it creates a magnetic field around you, and your brain is kind of like an antenna as well because of what's going on up there. So we kind of have two energy fields that are uh let me share something with you here. We kind of have two energy fields that are interacting with each other, not even in a woo woo way. This is like a thing. This is how you can you know how they cleared out the beaches in Iraq um,
uh huh,
with like supersonic weapons or whatever. They use sound. You know, it's the same reason that kind of stuff is able to affect your brain, um, and why like you know the weird CIA experiments, for lack of a better term, are like actually a thing. That's why they put millions of dollars into it. But I digress. Essentially, it's like this. I'm just going to show you the back of my card for my campaign because it's the best way to put it. It's a shape from sacred geometry. I forgot what it's called. It has a name though. Um, Here it is. I can get to it. There we go. Yeah. So you see how it's like two circles kind of overlapping. The bottom one would be like your heart, and the top one would be like your brain, right? And
uh huh.
I don't know. That's kind of the best way I visualize it, is two bubbles, because your heart's generating a field, and so is your brain. It's kind of weird when you realize it and think about it, but
Looks like
yeah,
one of
dude,
those
it's
graphs that has something in the middle. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're here, and it shows like an image in
oh
the
yeah,
middle, and they're connected to two other
yeah,
circles.
like not a pie graph, but I know what you're talking about, like an anagram maybe, or something like that. I don't know the term for it, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I derailed a little bit there, but yeah, we do have energy. We do have energy.
Yeah,
The
I
thing.
believe that we do have energy. I mean, even Reiki was proven to be real. You know what I mean? That you can give off energy out of your hands, whatever, and maybe even heal somebody
Hmm, hmm.
if you know what you're doing and you can channel it.
My wife did a little Reiki on our dog actually, and he has like leg splaying issues and stuff like that. So like there's something going on with his joints or something. But after she did
Mhm.
that, he was like, I don't know, it was like a noticeable change. So she swears up and down by it, and I mean, I'm intrigued at least, like I got
I
to
think
see
it's
it
been
work.
scientifically proven. If you got the right instruments, you can measure it. But
Right.
not everybody can do it. You know what I mean? It's just like a psychic. I think there's real psychics and there's bullshit ones too. There's
Yeah.
probably more bullshitters than there are real ones, but they are real. There are real ones.
A lot of the modern day technology has allowed us to realize that a lot of the weird conspiracies out there, um, most of them are like, yeah, like, oh, like 90 something percent of those are fake. But here's the thing: there's always this certain amount that's just completely unexplainable, and it's like crop circles, it's like the Reiki stuff, the psychic stuff, the remote viewing, you know, even
N-
like Sasquatch encounters. There's some
You
like,
get like visions of seeing like a dead body and tell
yeah,
the police where the body might be, stuff like
past
that.
life past life regression, you know what I mean, reincarnation. The list goes on. It just goes on and on and on. Like all these topics that are so weird and like out there. There's a certain percentage of all of them that are legitimately completely unexplained, which is why they kind of persevere through time, because there's always going to be those unexplainable things, you know.
Yeah, I've always been into the unexplained and the paranormal. Stuff like that. That's why I included it in my comic. You're gonna see like alien grays and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
my comic book takes place in an underground facility. I don't know if you're familiar with the lore of Dulce Base.
It's similar to Area 51, but not the same, right?
Yeah,
It
it's
has its own stuff.
underground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A little
Uh,
bit, yeah. And there's some
there's
real world stuff that happened there too, right?
well, supposedly there's multiple levels down underground, and it's on the border of Colorado and New Mexico.
Yep, yep.
And
That sounds
supposedly
right.
they're doing like experiments, uh, DNA experiments and stuff, genetics with alien technology, uh, and that's kind of where I got the lore from my comic book. So in Smokes is was genetically made using the technology from these grays,
Yeah,
along
sick.
with animal DNA, and Smokes was birthed by a human. So
Oh,
with the help of the Greys, they were able to make him, and also weaponized werewolf came from the same program. And in my comic book, I call it Project Minotaur. So
that's a good idea because the Minotaur is like half man, half beast. So, yeah,
yeah, it's a cool name. I thought it was.
yeah. And then, yeah, so that's a cool backstory too. I saw the concept of the story is, Dope Smoking Fox takes on the government. So I figured you would probably be into a lot of the out there topics, just like me. Me and
Yeah,
my wife.
actually, Mike wrote that elevator pitch for me. That was
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
I
Oh,
had
okay.
no idea. I tried to think of something, but to sum it up in so few words, he did it pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I
Takes
think when
on the
you're doing
government.
that, you should have an elevator pitch as well as a long pitch, depending on your situation. When you go online or whatever, you might only have 5 minutes to promote. Like if you're on what's his name, like Alterna's channel, sometimes you might get 5 minutes to promote your book. So you got to be able to pitch your book fast. You got
Yeah,
5 minutes.
let's go. Let's
You got to sell your audience. Um, or you can be able to talk for it for hours. I could do that
go.
too. You know what I mean? But you
Yeah,
got to be excited about your IP, or nobody else is going to be. That's what I
exactly.
realized. And there's a lot of people out there putting out comic books, and everybody wants to get noticed, and it's just the way it is right now.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's like if you're not passionate about it, why should they be, right? You know, like that's a lot of the subtext there, right? Like, well, this dude doesn't seem like he's passionate, which I mean, at the least means he doesn't necessarily need my help, right? He doesn't seem like he needs it. He's just not. He doesn't care, you know. So it's like, yeah, it's very important. It's very important.
yeah, and they have a good team. Some if a team that backs you and believes in your IP, in your characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Just want to put out the best product you can, and have fun with it.
yeah.
If there's
Oh
no
yeah.
fun, I mean, what's the point? There's other things you can do. You can make a lot more money doing other things than make comic books.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If it's about
It's
money, you could get like a temp job and work your way up and
it was
get in tons of
yeah.
money per hour. You know, that
If it was
sort of
about
stuff.
money, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I enjoy, in the when I'm gone someday, these comic books will be around. Maybe somebody will read them, like get a hold of the digital copy or find it in some 50-cent bin, or who knows, maybe worth even money or whatever at the comic book shop. But I think it's always
Right.
best to put your best product out, the best you can do. Uh, you got your name on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
you gotta. It is you. That is you sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you got to put your best foot forward and just like assume that people will still be reading it in the future. And you know, these types of works that are coming out right now in this like this period of time that we're going through right now, like it's not just crazy because of like election this, pandemic that, yada yada yada, all these issues. No, it's also like deeper things. Like this is just like the whole world's changing right now basically. And so like everything being written right now during all this turmoil is probably going to be examined at some point in time, just for the sheer fact, like think of how many um human artists in the future there's going to actually be left after like AI fully is just like accepted and takes over and stuff like that.
oh yeah, there's already been people getting caught doing AI covers for
Yeah,
DC.
yeah. Oh, DC. Ooh,
Yeah, some I forgot his
ooh.
name, but he got caught doing AI. Another artist called him out,
Yeah,
and now that's happening. So now he got relieved of cover duties.
but that's going to
No
be
one wants to pay good money for a comic book
that's
if
true.
it's drawn by a robot or whatever
Part of
AI.
it is the art. Yeah, you're buying that hard work, that each stroke that artist put on the paper. Yeah,
And he's a cover artist too. You know what I mean? He's not
yeah,
the
yeah.
interior artist, so it
That's
should be original art on the cover. Not
interior. You could make a long shot argument about like, okay, I needed a model or something for this particular scene very quickly for this panel, but even then
mhm.
you're DC, you don't no, you know what I mean, like the cover artist, way different story. That's like high res, like people are not in it for that, bro. Like you're a cover artist, like,
But
come on.
AI is good for some things. Some people generate like YouTube thumbnails. I think
Yeah,
that's fine for stuff like that.
quick
Interesting,
advertisement, something like that.
quick,
Yeah,
and
quick,
even concept. Say you got an idea for a character. You know what I mean? You don't want to pay somebody $100 to draw the concept.
just to see how
Put
it
it in
looks.
AI and just see what it looks like. You know what I mean? I think Pixel
Yeah,
Trader did that for Merkmaid, and the
yeah,
picture came out so well that kind of
yeah.
went with it.
There's the
And
concept. Yeah,
but he didn't use AI for the rest of it. He just used it for the concept sketch, which is fine.
yeah.
It's a tool. You know what I mean? It's how you use it.
it's
Use it.
it's reducing at best hours of work, hours, right? A lot of people take, it takes days, sometimes people take weeks on a single piece. um so yeah, it's reducing all of that into like minutes, just like generate. Oh, that's cool. Okay, now we've just saved ourselves a bunch of time because this is a meme comic anyway, right? So it's like let's that's a good meme right there. It turned out good, we'll add this, subtract that, here's our version of it. You know what I mean? Like, so nothing wrong with that, because the AI is pulling from humans anyway. It just has a computer mind. It's pulling from the internet though anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's why they're trying to sue because they're using other
yeah,
artists as the model. And now Adobe's trying to copy other artists' work and record it and use it for AI purposes, whatever, to train the AI, stuff like that. So I
yep.
don't know. I don't like the route that it's going.
That's Photoshop. Adobe's Photoshop for anybody
Yeah.
unaware out there. And yeah, by the way, Photoshop. AI's been around for a very long time. I don't know if you've ever messed around with filters in Photoshop or even the brush tools. The brush tools have an algorithmic, like, the it's not just a brush. Like it does like patterns and stuff and textures. Like there's things like that in the with the filters and stuff. I could take a screenshot, uh, and I did do this because I'm not a line work artist, but I can take photos and I can desaturate it, uh, contrast it, and then select the color black, and then just like paint the color black over it on a new layer, subtract the
Uh-huh.
original image, and now I have line work. And if you have line work, you can color it, right? So So I mean, that's the manual human way to do it, but I digress. You could take this very shittily clad together image that looks kind of rough and pixely, but at the end of the day, slap a Photoshop filter over it, and the AI just makes it into a painting. There you go. Couldn't tell the difference unless you're like another artist that can, because I am able to see the just the texture of the image after the fact. I'm like, that's an oil paint filter from Photoshop. You know what I mean? I can just see it because I've messed with it enough. So I mean, you're not fooling other artists for sure. But yeah, I mean, you can make some halfway decent stuff with AI on Photoshop that's been around for years that people don't even consider being AI, but it is, and all of your favorite artists use it. Unless they're all traditional, in which case, like, nothing to be said there. They're all traditional, right? I have a
Yep.
traditional artist, Mark Hatherley. He does great. He's like his style is very much like old school, like Superman. You know what I mean? That American, traditional American style. Yeah, he does just all
Are you into
pencils.
the manga or just the American style? Or
I'm into both. I don't mind both. I can't read something backwards though.
no,
It is
neither
very
could I.
distracting.
I'm
It
even
is
like
very
a little bit dyslexic, and I probably still can't read it backwards.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like forward but backward at the same time. It's like doing a gainer flip, but you're reading the book and you're just like, ugh. I don't know what the deal with that is. Hey, oh Wrangler, we were just talking about you. I think.
Yeah,
He
AI is
says
good for ideas and stuff like that.
it's a good point. It's refined spell check. By the way, spell check is AI. Fun fact. We have been slowly groomed into this AI thing. Nobody asked us. It's just been under the guise of improving our technology, which it is improving our technology, to be fair. Like Snapchat face filters, Facebook face filters for that matter, facial recognition. Sorry, not the filter, the recognition software that's built into it. That's all AI. And we don't even understand how that fully works because somebody wrote an AI and told it to write that outcome. And then the AI invented the facial recognition. So, I mean, we've been messing with Pandora's box for quite a while now. Just saying.
Well, then I heard that AI is not even real AI. That the AI in ChatGPT is just an algorithm.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
could see that too.
truly AI.
I could see that too. And it just like pulls maybe I don't know. I don't know how it would do it. Does it have like a? It has to in some way have some sort of interpretation of the internet, right? Because that's why everybody's trying to sue, or at least George Martin's suing GPT. I don't know who's suing. I don't know who's suing the other stuff.
I tried to have ChatGPT help me with my taxes, and it couldn't even add up numbers. So I wanted
Ooh,
to test it. So I added them up all myself, right? And I knew
yeah.
what the number was. And then I kept asking it, and it could not do the simplest thing. I asked it 5 times. Why you keep giving me the wrong number? Why are you telling me? Why couldn't it add 20 numbers up? It was
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. Then I used the Google Bard or Gemini, I think it's called now, and
Hmm.
then it was
Hmm.
able to add numbers. But the ChatGPT wouldn't do simple things for me. It's almost like they watered it down or
I
something
think
like
they
that.
did, yeah. They lobotomized it in some way because, like, right away, people were making viruses. They were tricking it into like telling them recipes for like, you know, boom boom devices and other things that aren't so good. So yeah, they nerfed it right away, and it was just been the slow progression of nerfing it more and more, and also politicizing it, unfortunately.
Do you know how it was originally? Was it able to like start companies for you and stuff? I keep seeing these videos. Like I told ChatGPT this that I had $100 and to start me a business and to do this and that.
I
Not,
believe those videos. Yeah, I believe.
when you
Yeah,
watch ChatGPT, when you try to ask it something like that now, it's like we don't have access to the internet. We can't check links. We can't go online. We can't do this.
it's the same reason why we don't have flying cars, but have been able to for sure since at least the 90s, in one way or another. Like think about it, just even a personalized drone. Think about it, a one-man drone. That's essentially a flying car. You could get to work in that. I'm just saying, but it's the same reason. It's too much freedom, bro. Like you're gonna let everybody fly? How are you gonna like have lanes and like directions for people to follow? How are you gonna pull people over?
Like a drug
Uh,
dealer's dream. You know what I mean? Just woo,
yeah,
just
it's
go.
Too much freedom. You give everybody a GPT with total freedom, and yeah, we would all become geniuses. We would have this perfect robot assistant that can like set up a perfect schedule for us, consolidate a assload of research. You can have it listen to hours and hours of like podcasts and stuff, and then like organize all the information in a very structured bullet point list. It's fucking ridiculous, actually, dude. But yeah, you give everybody access to that shit, and suddenly it's decentralized, right? That's what I was saying. And
Yeah, it's
I guess,
watered down for sure.
yeah, my whole overall point of even bringing that up though is like one day the AI is unfortunately going to be like universally accepted, and then like human music, human writing, human comics will be boutique at that point. Like, yeah, you'll have the whatever the modern version of human comics and storytelling and stuff is at that point. But this particular period of time, because we're going through this decentralization, is going to be looked at. So people are going to look at Smokes the Fox one day, especially. I don't know. It's a successful campaign, right? On like Fund My Comic, or what are you on again?
Originally I launched on Indiegogo,
Hmm.
and then I funded on there, and then I
Yeah.
moved to Fund My Comic, and I actually even ran it on Kickstarter, which some people don't like, whatever. So I didn't really push it too hard on Twitter or anything like that. I just silently did it, and anybody who backs on Kickstarter will never back on Indiegogo or Fund My Comic. It's just where they back, and if it's not available on that platform, they're just not going to back you. It's
Just
not
not
really
promote.
against you. It's just what they're used to or whatever, their preference.
Interesting.
So I recommend that everybody uses every platform. Why not?
Gotcha.
What's the worst can happen? You don't fund.
That's
I
fair.
mean, life's a gamble anyway. I mean, you're already going to launch somewhere else. No matter where you put it, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to go. Some campaigns, I see a campaign, I'm like, oh my god, that's not even going to fund. Then it might hit six figures or something like that. I'm like,
Yep.
you never know.
You never know. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know how something's going to go.
Right. Right. Yeah. He says Bad Sauce here. He says he's in IT, by the way. He's an IT person.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He says it's just a super duper advanced algorithm, and yeah, I'm sure they have some way to like trickle the internet into it, which is how you get the end result at the end of the day, which is a generated AI images or whatever it is. Um, but yeah,
I don't know.
I think until they actually directly start ripping people off, we might be past that part already. Because like even StreamYard right now that we're on offers AI thumbnails. I think before the show we were talking about thumbnails a little bit.
I think
It's built.
YouTube does that too, but it's terrible.
Oh, right
Did you
now,
see
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
terrible now, but yeah, in the future,
yeah.
maybe better.
I had a a job like when I got my unemployment during the pandemic. I had a job coach contact me from the state and
Uh-huh.
essentially walk me through the process of using Chat GPT to write a a resume.
Okay.
So like we have the state actually for a few years now, the government themselves directly teaching people Chat GPT to essentially write a resume for them. Now, a resume, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be kind of an at a glance, like I don't know, the way the resume itself looks is kind of part of a judgment on the person, right? I mean, even though we all kind of tongue in cheek would just like look up a professional resume and copy the best parts of it. Like, let's be real. That's what everybody's been doing. So the GPT thing kind of just speeds that up. But like, yeah, isn't that kind of counterintuitive to a resume, you think?
Well, they always use the same words,
Right.
so you know it's Chat GPT, right? When you see a tweet, there's words like immerse yourself and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Delve into. There's just key things that you can see that Chat GPT will always spit out. What I like to do sometimes if I'm writing a tweet and I don't know if it sounds right, I'll copy and paste my tweet into AI or Chat GPT and ask it, how can I say it better a little bit. So
Yeah.
sometimes use like a cross between Chat GPT and myself for like a tweet,
Hmm.
but not
Which,
for writing a comic or anything like that. Or I've never used it for for a resume or anything like that. But I guess it's good for maybe spell checking, something
mhm.
like that. You can ask if there's any grammar errors or words you would replace.
Right.
or something like that. But yeah, there's a fine line, I guess. What's too much AI? What's
Right. Right. I can't find a single good argument against the part of the AI that is basically your perfect little Jeeves butler who is going to perfectly organize information for you, digest it for you, and lay it all out perfectly so you can just like get to the article that you're going to write or whatever. It's just fantastic because you could have like, I'm telling you, like you could lay out entire podcast, hours and hours of audio. It's going to listen to it all.
Mhm.
You put the link there or whatever. It'll listen to all of it, and yeah, it'll just like bullet point it. You get on with your life. I can't find a single terrible thing wrong with that, other than like it might discourage humans from reading certain articles because it can skim articles too. It can, I mean, it's text. Of course, it can skim articles. Um, but yeah, that just facilitates learning so much.
I
That
think YouTube right now is actually transcribing everything we say.
yeah. Substack
And
too. Yeah, Substack will
yeah,
read my, like I have a short story on there, ongoing. Like each episode's like a little. Each episode is like short story length, like 10,000 words. But like I was really surprised to see that they have like built in. I know it's just text to speech, right? Doesn't seem like a big deal, but like no, it was kind of cool to me because I can hear my thing read back to me, and then vice versa when I have like my podcast episodes go up. Like this will be on Substack. These words I'm saying right now will be transcribed. It literally
uh-huh.
has that built in right there. It's like here it is. I could, in fact, that's actually how I would go to transcribing a video right now. Is I would just upload it as a draft on Substack, just enough to get the transcription and then delete it. Just because this stuff is so well integrated now at this point. Like, why even look up anything else if it's right there?
Oh yeah,
So I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's going to be more accepted, unfortunately. Um, I mean, we all want things to be the way they always have been, uh, but we can remain optimistic and say that like human art will be boutique. Like I said earlier, that's a term coined from Nicky Pacone of Iron Age Marketing. He's the first person I heard say that, and it's so spot on. It is it because like
yeah,
we still have like classic cars and stuff like that. Like the calculator was invented, people still use chalkboards and do math. Like I don't know, time and again, these paranoias are proved wrong, but I mean we've all seen Terminator also though, so and Matrix, so it's like what can you do? I don't know.
yeah. In the future, kids might think it's weird that a person actually still draws comics, thinking that like the old way of doing things. Uh, in the future, you'll probably be able to pick what artist you want to draw it. Pick your artist out, press a button, and put down how many panels you want, describe each
Yeah,
panel, whatever. Scan an image of what you're looking for the character, and let it do its work. I think they already got something similar to that. They already got software that's already starting to do stuff like that. But
it's getting there.
but
It's really good.
it's all we all want to put out stuff that are made by humans.
Yes,
I want.
that's the point.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's like music, you know what I mean? You could tell if it was written in a by a corporation or something. A bunch of guys in a boardroom wrote the song versus, some guys are hooked on heroin in a hotel room
Right.
that made the music. There's a lot of feeling and emotion when you're on like heroin or whatever. It makes really
Suffering.
good music. Yeah, suffering and stuff like
Human
that.
suffering. Uh,
Emotions, brings out feelings and stuff like that. That's something I don't think the AI can do, or not
some
yet.
some people would say that suffering is the root of all comedy, and I mean also passion. How could you be passionate about something if something else isn't hurting you in some way, unless you're just a total psychopath like Snake or something. um, but yeah, passion, comedy, like it's the root of like art. You know what I mean? Like those are the best pieces where you can just feel the pain. You know what I mean, or something. And I don't mean pain as in just in a negative way. Like there's like heartache. You know what I mean? And there's like beautiful pain. Like oh, that landscape is so beautiful that it actually like oh that hurts in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's so beautiful. So yeah. It's crazy, man. Like the future is gonna be nuts for sure. And
Yeah, I think Elon Musk said he wants to connect like 100,000 computers or something and do some
Ooh.
super AI.
Brains in jars. Okay, so as a way to save power, and this is because of climate change. This is the reason that they're saying this. They have and they've been doing this for a while, because by the time we hear about it, it's done and over with, right? That's how it always is. But yeah, they have taken human brain cells and grown brains from scratch in jars, and used them essentially as computer processors, because you can essentially finagle these brains to do the same thing that certain things in computers can do, and essentially save a lot of power, uh, like electrical power, by just simply feeding these brains. Uh, so it raises this crazy ethical question. Um, what if the brains like realize they're alive? It's just so like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Because you can that's totally like mind flayer stuff from D&D, and it's totally like we've seen other like crazy Lovecraftian brain mojo going on, you know. It's
Yep.
just like, what's happening? You know, what do you think of that? Like using actual human brains, but they've been
Uh,
grown. They've been grown for the purpose of being computer processors, basically. What do you think of that?
I don't know, like grafting, like animals growing like human parts on animals and stuff like that, and
Right.
grafting like that rat they showed with like a human ear on it, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't know. That's crazy stuff. I think it's outlawed in America, and then but we do it in other countries. We'll have
Yeah.
labs in the Ukraine or whatever who allows it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we'll do those kind of things. So nothing's going
Yeah.
to stop human nature from doing it. I think there was laws on like cloning and stuff like that, but there's still people trying to
Yeah.
clone in other places.
Some
Well, we just
people
do it
think,
elsewhere where we can do it.
oh yeah, exactly. Some people think there's a full-fledged cloning program going on here, and furthermore, that the movie they cloned Tyrone, I think is what it's called. It's on Netflix, I
Oh, I
think.
heard that. I heard of that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that that's them just like admitting it, or like the truth in plain sight or whatever. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, they admitted to cloning that sheep, whoever that whatever the name of that sheep was, the first ever cloned animal, right?
Oh, I forgot the name of it too.
And then, I mean, after that, they kind of things very much became kind of obscure, and I kind of suspect they already long had the cloning stuff. And by the time they mention a sheep, I mean, you're always going to mention kind of the lowest hanging fruit that's the least distracting for the public, like, oh yeah, just a sheep, it's whatever, or oh yeah, it's just a rat with an ear on it, it's whatever. But then all of a sudden one day you figure out that we're this far along where we can literally have like Fallout brains in jars computing, like
It's
like
just a clone of your dead kid. No big deal.
it's it's like the next step is the Matrix, dude. Like seriously, which they do have baby growing facilities, by the way. That the pods the pods weirdly resemble Matrix pods. It's a very odd thing, but
Well,
yeah,
supposedly Hollywood gets information from dark groups in the military, and they're fed
yeah,
information, and they're out to basically spread it. So you're getting used to the idea. You know what I mean? Like like Total Recall or something like that. Like the show, like Colony on Mars. Who's to say we don't have a colony on Mars? Maybe they're just getting us
right,
ready for the idea or the thought of it.
exactly, yeah,
Who knows what we got?
desensitizing.
But yes. Supposedly we got jump rooms where you can go from one place to another, like a portal. That it
Oh,
was
interesting.
created by Tesla, and then after he passed away, the CIA or whatever and other
Yep,
groups went in there and took all his files,
yep.
and they came across these things and stuff.
Hmm,
But there's been
hmm.
whistleblowers that come out. They said they've been part of these programs where they have jumped, and there's even people that said they've even jumped to Mars, to
Right.
another planet.
There's remote viewers that view Mars. Right now, we're flying drones around on Mars. So I asked the question, why isn't every single fucking new piece of footage that we see from Mars with these drones? Because I don't know if you remember growing up in like the trickle, the absolute just bare minimum trickle of information of these other planets that was coming in every
Mhm.
X amount of freaking years. You know what I mean? Now we have a drone up there, and you're telling me there's not a live stream that we can all watch right now. Like, why isn't everybody talking about that? I just learned about the drone the other day, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but that's like where we're at. We can fly drones on other planets. Um, so it, there's a reason we're not just like given full access to seeing everything on the planet. I guess like there's a reason every single. Did you know every single photo from NASA is photoshopped? And like
Of Earth?
of everything, of everything.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Most of their staff is photoshoppers, and they say it's to make the photos look as good as possible. But a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people point out the obvious thing that it's to censor, or even just fabricate, right? You know.
There's just so much disinformation, that we went on the moon and we didn't go to the moon. We
Yep.
have colonies on Mars. We'll never go to Mars. People
Mhm.
can't go into space. We've been to space. I don't know. There's just so
Yeah,
much
dude.
on each end. I don't even know anymore. But after hearing about the moon landing in 1969, I don't believe we went to the moon in
It's
1969. It
pretty
was too perfect.
crazy.
It's
It's
too
pretty
perfect.
crazy. Van
How it
Allen,
was like a Hollywood movie. If you look at it right now, look back at it. It's just too
dude,
good, too
dude.
perfect.
And then when you look at the connections of everybody involved, there's a reason people think that Kubrick is behind it. Like the theory on the surface sounds crazy, like, oh, Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing. It's like, yeah, that sounds ridiculous on the surface, but then there's a reason it's prevailing through the years. You know what I mean? These things stick around, and then you get new footage of like the astronauts up in space, and you can literally see like wires clipped to
Oh
the
yeah,
side.
yeah. So are they doing that on purpose? They want the wires to be seen
Like, what are
to
you
think
doing?
that we
Yeah,
didn't go, or you know what I mean? There's so much
yeah,
misinformation. It's
yeah,
almost like they
dude.
play both sides. You don't know what's going on. Um, and
I
then the
know.
government admitted there was aliens and stuff like that. Even the
Hmm.
Pentagon even went so far as saying there might be a mother ship on its way to Earth. What the hell is
Hmm.
that all about? Since when
And
does the Pentagon talk to anybody or about
ever,
anything? And then
ever.
oh yeah, by the way,
Hey, there's aliens, guys, and then they run away. Like,
and
oh,
then no one cared.
no one
They said
cared.
this news that because everybody either has their opinion already that we know there's just too much evidence to say that they don't exist as far as what they want and where they're from or whatever
Hmm.
that's up to the debate. But I mean,
I think the most unsettling theory is that they're not from anywhere else. Um, they're from here, right? This theory says that they've been here all along, and this is actually their planet, right? And if that's true, and I'll just lay it all out very simply. Like, just imagine a race of aliens that live in like the ocean, right? And they're not even aliens; they're just like an advanced species slash race or
uh-huh.
whatever. You can even visualize them as like the crazy human looking ones. You can visualize them as grays or even just fish people or whatever. But yeah, that's the idea. Is like this is their planet. The UFOs we see are them spying on us. They don't want to interfere because obviously we're sharing a planet. But this would kind of coincide with all the beliefs around the world of like a civilizing force that of gods that would like come down and like civilize a bunch of humans, lay out some rules, help them build some crazy shit, and then dip. Uh, Essentially, if aliens exist but they're from here, this is their planet, and they live in something like the ocean or even just like inside mountains or something.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
there's footage of UFOs coming out of volcanoes,
yep,
active volcanoes.
they're
Uh,
associated with mountains in the ocean.
yeah,
That
diving
happens.
into the ocean
Yep,
or coming out of the ocean. There's the hollow Earth theory where
yep, yep.
uh,
Ooh, that
Admiral
one's
Byrd, discovered a hole that leads in that was so big that he actually flew his plane into it and
and
then
that's all
wrote about it.
documented. It's all
Yeah, and he wrote
documented.
it in his journal.
He's
And
not like
after
he's not a conspiracy theorist either. That's
no,
Admiral.
he's like one of the
Admiral.
most admired.
Yes. Yes.
That's why he was sent to do the job. And
Yeah, dude.
he wrote all this stuff in a journal. And then when he passed away, his kid published it, and it says the
Right.
craziest shit in there.
It
There's
does.
dinosaurs under there, and they met like there's a alien race and UFOs, and
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
leader told them, not to come back and stop with the nuclear weapons and stuff like that, and all that. It's just crazy. But shortly after the Sun posted that or published that work that that diary of his dad's, he actually was found dead
Yep.
shortly
There,
after.
there's a long, weird, mysterious string of bad luck that follows whistleblowers and inventors and family members of other notable figures like this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was found naked in a warehouse with like
Like, what the
one
hell?
boot on or one shoe on or something like that, and they
Yep.
called it like a natural death.
Yep.
How often does that happen where someone's just found in a random
It's not
warehouse
natural.
naked with one shoe, and it's just a random, just it's
Yeah.
just insane.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
nurture.
I'm into that kind of stuff, and that's why I put that that stuff into my comic book. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think Mike Barron is like into that stuff. I don't think he believed in UFOs or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I've actually seen a couple UFOs out here living in Colorado.
Hell yeah.
Believe it or not.
Oh, I
I
believe
do,
it. There's plenty of footage these days.
but
It's just there.
I've seen one less than 50 feet away, probably about 40 something
Ooh,
feet away. And I mean,
that's crazy.
that's pretty close.
Yeah.
But I've never seen an alien. I'm not claiming that I'm been abducted or anything like that. But
Mhm.
if you keep your eyes up in the sky, you might see something you can't explain. It's just,
Right.
but
Uh,
I think you have to be open to the idea too. People that don't believe in that stuff aren't going to see it. I don't think. If you're not.
yeah. And even when it's right there, like the movie Signs, you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of time, like wasn't like most of the world, even like when they were like, it was very mysterious for a great portion of it. Like they were slowly making contact, and everybody's just like, eh. And then it wasn't until aliens are literally walking around on the streets and stuff. Everybody
People
started
don't
freaking out.
believe it until they see it sometimes
Yeah,
with
exactly.
their own eyes.
Yeah.
But I've
Which is
always
probably
believed
good.
that there were, aliens and stuff. It's just too much, evidence and such.
Yeah.
So I wanted
Hey,
to, include that kind of stuff into my comic book, and make it a more evolved comic book, not like a Cheech and Chong where my character just gets high and
mhm,
laughs and it's no point to the story or anything like that. I wanted to avoid all that. So the smoking pot's just a small part of my comic book, a very small part.
right.
Uh,
Right. It's just like more a personality thing, and the contents of it may be complementary to one who smokes, but not necessarily completely dependent. Like it's not like you said, it's not like Seth Rogen humor or whatever.
yeah, and it's not another reason why I put smoking in there. They don't allow smoking in comic books anymore in the mainstream. Not even
Oh,
cigarettes of any, no cigars. You're not going to see the Thing smoking a cigar or anything like that.
mm.
They got rid of smoking completely, and I wanted to kind of bring that back. I think like Wolverine with a cigar in his mouth looks badass.
Yeah,
Like
dude. Like, come
Silvestri
on,
drew him with that like that with the cowboy hat or whatever. I thought that was cool.
adds
You know
to
what
his
I mean?
grittiness, man. Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I appreciate that. I didn't know they like completely banned that. So yeah, I'm all for that. It's like a rebellion comic.
I don't think it was banned when when I created smokes yet. I think later on, I don't know, in 2000 something, I think they got rid of smoking from
Mhm.
comic books. I'm not sure exactly what year, but they phased it out. You know,
Yeah.
another thing
Probably
gone.
probably started around the time they didn't allow smoking indoors at a lot of places anymore. But
Yeah,
yeah,
remember in the 80s, man, you just go to the mall and there would be like a of ashtray on every table and people just
yep.
smoking at every table. No one gave a shit.
hmm
Times has changed. It's
hmm
just
hmm Man, I kind of miss all that because, geez, that's like there's just like a bunch of culture going on there. You know what I mean? Like, you talking about people being in the same place? Is that what you're talking about right now? Because that's not going to be a thing anymore. Everybody's just like even concerts are kind of a phenomenon these days. Like after that lockdown.
yeah, I haven't been to one in a while, but I'm actually going to one in August. I'm going to see Bush. They're doing a show out here. And Candlebox is going to play, and what's his name there? Jerry Cantrell. He's the second singer of Alice in Chains.
Oh hell
He's
yeah.
he like some of the songs he sings. I think his most popular song is "Heaven Beside You." I think he does most of the vocals on that one. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, that's another thing. You know what I mean? Comics or concerts are becoming less and less in movie theaters. No one's going to the theaters anymore.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
becoming like it's just getting thrown out of society. No one's going to the movies anymore. The times has changed. It's just how it
becoming
is.
becoming boutique, right? Right.
Yeah,
I,
boutique.
I just saw I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I just saw a trailer for the movie Nosferatu today. And it at the end of that trailer it said only in theaters. So I was like, people are really playing on the theater thing for part of their marketing campaign. And I noticed that some of the better movies, like I believe, oh, what was it? Wasn't Oppenheimer also only in theaters? Like theaters only kind of thing? So,
I saw Oppenheimer on DVD at Redbox when it came out later on. I think we
yeah,
rented it. But now
I think,
Redbox is going under. They were bought out a few years ago by somebody else, and they just
mm,
filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, I believe.
oh
So
man.
I think everything's going to be kind of like streamed. All the movies are going to be streamed now. That's going to be the future for
Mhm.
movies,
But
something
yeah,
like that.
so like, yeah, so seeing that in the advertising that, you know, theaters only, it's pretty cool because it's kind of like how I said yours is a rebel comic by having the smoking in there. But even though the trend is kind of forcing everything to go towards like everything must be streamed and homogenized, you get these very like these top tier movies that are just like, nope, theaters only. And I think that's because you still have some of the veterans and the greats in the industry that are insistent on their way. Um, and I mean, at this point, it's like a rebellion movie. You know what I mean?
Well, if
You
it's a
know?
good movie, I like to go to the theater. I like that experience.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
it's going to be kind of like a pastime that's forgotten about, kind of like drive-in theaters. They still exist, but there's not that many of them. You go there
Hmm.
once in a while.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Times are changing. Things are different now.
I,
Culture's different.
I do like to see the vibrant, thriving state of comics, though. I mean, like comics is hurt, that's for sure. It's wounded, but like there's still like people kicking around, and then like indie comics got that influx of people from like the big two or just like all the major publishers when there was the great purge, the great political purge, which created Comicsgate, obviously. So like yeah, I feel like there is this bustling underbelly of artists and comic creators right now that's still there. And if I think if we kind of maintain it and cherish it, it can kind of harden into a strong foundation that can
Yeah,
help.
we could be the new mainstream.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when the mainstream just like, okay, yeah, sure, it all looks really cool and stuff, but they have completely sold their souls to like I don't know AI and like BlackRock and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I
Uh,
think in the future that some of these indie creations and comics, because of the low print runs, they're going to be sought after and worth maybe even thousands of dollars one day. Not every comic. I'm talking about certain ones. As far as which ones, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But I think some of these indie creators, who knows, they might even get movie deals down the road, 20 years from now. You know what I mean? Something
yeah.
30 years from now might
Oh
be a
yeah.
comic book from some indie comic that somebody made.
I'm
It
still
can
waiting
happen.
for the I'm still waiting for the Black Company movie. Dune, that was made in like the 60s, right? We're still seeing movies of that. Like it can happen. Like I'm waiting for somebody to make a good Lovecraft movie, for example. Like Lovecraft was how long ago now? Like they still haven't made like a one for one. And I mean, even in modern technology, can you imagine how crazy a Lovecraft movie could actually be? How crazy good a Lovecraft TV show could be? You know what I mean? Just seeing a town slow, like just Call of Cthulhu, right? The TV show. One second here.
Uh,
Anvil. Perfect.
Nice. 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 is now.
We are back. How's it going? All right. Sorry about that. So let's pick up with your comic. What generally is it about? Like, do you tackle aliens? That was the main. I think I saw some aliens on the landing page.
Yes, Sepoy.
Mhm.
He's the gray alien that's in charge of the base that's underground, and that's on the border of Colorado and New Mexico. And they're doing genetics, uh, and they created all these crazy hybrids. And Smokes was the smartest hybrid they created, but there was other hybrids that were also created. There's also the werewolf, weaponized werewolf. I call him. His name is Cheney, and he is half human, half wolf. But he's not like a typical werewolf where he's howling into the moon and he changes. He's a human that changes into a werewolf, and then back. He's always a werewolf because he has a human mother, and it's just genetic mixing.
Right.
So what happens is Smokes escapes the facility, and they make the decision to send out weaponized werewolf to either eliminate him or to retrieve him, whatever any means necessary.
Right.
So Smokes escapes, and while he's escaping, he runs across some campers, and they just fell asleep because they were smoking and partying all night. And he just creeps in one of their tents and grabs their stash.
Yeah, as you do.
And then he gets high for the first time. So it's a little comedy in there, a little it's kind of a dark comic actually, but then there's humor in it too. There's a little bit of everything.
Comedy.
Yeah, like a dark comedy.
Works.
Yeah. Mike likes to insert comedy in everything he does, regardless of what he's doing. Even if he's going to write a Punisher book or whatever, he likes to throw in some stuff. You got to laugh, you know what I mean? They're entertainment, you know what I mean? You don't want someone to feel bad about themselves and their life reading your comic or whatever, you know what I mean? You want them to get excited, you want them to turn the next page and to care about your characters and to relate to them and not, be some generic crap where you don't care about the characters and you don't want to read the next issue.
Right.
So in the second issue of Smokes, we kind of go more into his personality. I had Mike Barron write the script for that, so I'm currently working on issue 2. So I'm pushing issue 1, trying to sell out of the rest of the copies that I have available on Fund My Comic, and that's going pretty well actually. So it has hit over 225 backers total, between all the platforms. And I'm still pushing, you know what I mean? There's somebody out there who's never heard of my comic. There's a lot of people that haven't heard of my comic book. And even if they don't buy it, just getting the word out there that you're here, you exist. I'm a creator, I'm here. You got to get the word out however possible, you know what I mean? Do shows like this, live streams. I've done over 120 something live streams, I believe now, promoting my comic during the sign up and between then and now. Just promoting, talking to people, getting out there. And I also promote people too. I'm going to have you on the show promoting your book. I've had dozens and dozens of guests on the Man Cave. Every Thursday we promote a different creator. Before that, I was doing the high stream, and we would promote an indie creator doing that show as well. So I've been doing that for about 2 years now, promoting creators, and I think it's good, because you're helping somebody else out. You're doing something good in the community. You're part of the community, and then they see that you're doing good, and then they're gonna, in return, maybe retweet you, maybe back your book, or just help you promote or invite you on their show.
Right.
I think that you should help fellow creators. Why not? What do you got to lose?
Exactly. Can you do me a solid and toss your links in the private chat so I can share them with my chat, and then we'll pull up your campaign here really quick too, just so everybody can get a good look of it.
I
'Cause
did 2 campaigns, which was the Smokes the Fox and Weaponized Werewolf, and then I did another campaign, which was my action figure, which just ended.
Yeah, I saw
But what I
that.
did is I added a tier to my Fund My Comic campaign, so now it's all in one place.
Interesting. Yeah, that's smart. So you did like each one platform at a time, right? You like
Yeah, I
what?
originally started on Indiegogo. I
Hmm.
launched there. I thought Indiegogo has a really good sign up page. Not really anybody can match the sign up page of Indiegogo, I don't think, not even Kickstarter,
Right.
in my opinion. And I got about, I don't know, 106, 102, something between 102 and 108 signups before I launched. So I felt pretty good about launching. But I got kind of in the beginning. It didn't really go that well, you know, or like the first
Yeah.
couple days went well, then I kind of like fell off a cliff, and I got, I felt bad about it. You know what I mean? Like I just spent 3 years of my over 3 years of my life creating this, spending thousands and thousands of dollars, and how come no one's buying it? And then I just just kicked into gear and just started hitting up everybody. Do you have a spot on your show? Can I come on? Some people were like, yeah, sure, come on. I can come on this day or whatever. Some people won't even reply back or whatever. But
Right.
I
Right.
would just try everyone, see who's out there, and most of the people did want to help and would let me talk about my comic on their show. So
Nice.
I took them up on that, and then I would return the favor and had them come on my show, and I would promote them. And then you get a build up, after helping so many creators, you get kind of like a fan base going, and you get people that are helping you. And I got people that never back my book, but they're going to retweet it. I got people that back my book and retweet. I got people that back my book, retweet, and make review videos. You never know what kind of support you're going to get. Sometimes you're surprised. You got people out there that don't even know who the hell you are, and they support you more than your family does, or your
Dude,
best friend
that
does.
that resonates, yeah. For
You
sure,
know what I
man.
mean?
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is Smokes here. He's on the thumbnail for the video tonight
Yeah,
too.
that's the artist of Cerebus. I don't know if you're familiar with. There's Dave Sim, and then he worked with Gerhard, and Gerhard worked on Cerebus like about the second half of Cerebus. I think it was like 150 issues or so. And he was the
Yeah.
background artist, and I really liked his work because of his lines. You see how he uses those thin lines, just incredible cross hatching. I was a big fan, so
Yeah.
I actually had Gerhard help me redesign Smokes from my original sketches. So originally he had
Yeah.
like a just a cheesy corn pipe cob pipe, like a very basic like Frosty the Snowman, nothing, no bells and whistles. And later on we kind of gave him like a fancier pipe, and then I added the like the military uniform top, stuff like that. Before he was wearing like a wife beater and maybe a hoodie, and I thought that was kind of like generic.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wanted to give him a more uh, a better look, I guess.
Yeah, the military jacket actually kind of does convey the stoner vibe a little bit more somehow. I don't know. The green, I don't know. It's yeah. It's because the wife beater and the hoodie is one thing, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know. It just
I thought he needed the upgrade, so I did that before starting working on the comic. I got the character redesigned until I had it how I wanted it. And originally he doesn't wear shorts or any kind of pants.
yeah.
But when I hired Don Perlin to draw the cover, he refused to draw my character without any bottoms. So he's like, you got to put some pants on that thing. And I love Don Perlin. He just passed away recently. It's sad. I was a
Yeah.
big fan of his. Big fan of Valiant Comics. If you collect Valiant Comics out there, back in like the early '90s, when Jim Shooter was in charge and Bob Layton, those are the comics that I collected. So that's another reason why I hired Mike Barron, because he worked for Valiant,
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
Don Perlin and Bob Layton. And I even have a new cover for issue 2, which was drawn by Bob Hall, another guy who who worked for Valiant. doing Shadow Man and stuff like that. So I'm just a big Valiant fan because I thought Valiant, did the best of both worlds. They had the good story and they had the good art. So that's what I wanted. I wanted the good story and good art,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to, give my best effort, not just throw it out there and just a so-so book.
Right.
I wanted to get the best creators I can get. I got turned down. Not everybody wanted to work with me or whatever, but a lot of people wanted to work with me, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought doing the fulfillment was going to be, something I was dreading, and it actually became like my favorite part. Seeing the people's name that are backing your book and writing them a note, telling them thank you for backing and stuff like that. Gratitude goes a long way too. You know what I mean? I think, and
I'm looking forward to that. Actually,
I want people to have fun when they read my comics. Give them a note, write them a note, tell them thank you for backing.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, your name got mentioned when I was on the High Desert podcast the other day, so that was cool. I was like, oh wait, I know who that is. I'm having him on this week. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I actually funded on High Desert on Michael T's show at like 2:30 in the morning Mountain Time, my time. I just got a bunch of back. You never know. I mean, it was a small audience, and they wanted to help me, and they pushed me over.
Yeah.
And then I went to bed at like 3 in the morning, smiling. I felt good,
Yeah.
to fund your comic, and I'm glad that there's platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and Fund My Comic that are helping us make our dreams come true.
Yeah, dude. I really like the mono eye design here. It reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog in a good way.
It was originally based off Cerebus because he has the uni eye or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Cerebus, Madman, Concrete, and there was a big indie scene back then.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody had their own comic book character, I believe, their own IP, and that's what I wanted. That's how I created Smoke, because I wanted my own IP. It's like everybody else. McFarlane had Spawn, and Paul Chadwick had Concrete, and I wanted my own. So
yeah, I got the closest thing I got is my world. I went the other direction and invested in the world instead of like one single character. And we'll see how it pans out. But yeah, I'm trying to lure people into RK rather than.
Like, you see that piece right there, Demon in a Bong.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that when I saw that.
Yeah, I came up with that one day, and I wanted to kind of like it was a tribute to Bob Layton.
Iron Man, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bob Layton's, and Sutsy, inked my cover and stuff, and I've known him throughout the years. I was kind of like busting his balls, but I do actually love that cover, and I wanted to, do a homage to Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. You back? Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's my co-host Justin from Iron Seas. He's also the host of Iron Age Nights, if you're familiar with the Drink with Crazy.
Oh yeah, Iron Age Nights. Yep.
He said your comic was on Comic Shop Wednesday a while back, which is today. And
it was a while ago.
We'll be hopping off before Comic Shop Wednesday, just so there's no crossover there. But yeah, I when I brought you up to the boys too, they heard you too, so I was like, oh, cool. Small world, man.
Yeah, I try to stay out of drama. Sometimes I might lose my cool once in a while on a tweet here and there online or whatever, but I don't usually start drama, or we do a stream. We don't talk about, this artist did this or this artist does that. We just have a good time and mainly just try to laugh and entertain, which I want to do with my comic book too. I just want to make people laugh here and there and just entertain them and want them, wanting more. After they read the first issue, I want them to say, "Oh, that's the only thing. That's my only gripe with my comic was it's not long enough. I didn't have the money to, make it a longer comic book. So what I did is I added Weaponized Werewolf, which is the prequel to Smokes. So when you get both books, you're going to get the complete story, because Weaponized Werewolf takes place 15 years before the Smoke story, but you're going to see the same characters in there in the same world, in the same universe. So you're going to get a complete picture of the
Yeah.
of this world that he's in, and it's kind of like our world is not like anything really special about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, and I think that's a great, for new creators out there. I do see a few stories like this where it's like urban fantasy, right? That would be urban fantasy if it's like the real world, right?
Oh, I guess.
I think.
Is that what they call it?
I think it's
That's
urban
what kids
fantasy.
calling it now. It could be a true story, I guess.
Basically, yeah.
It could be.
Yeah. Even if you replace the animal hybrids with like vampires or whatever the supernatural element is. But yeah, typically it's like a supernatural element overlaid over our actual world. You got.
Have you
Dulce
seen
Bish.
those humanzees or whatever the hell they are? You know what I'm talking about?
No, that sounds familiar.
Where it's like a part chimpanzee and human or whatever, the mixing of DNA.
What?
I mean, so my story is not too far fetched. They already got supposedly stuff like that going on.
I believe it, man. I believe it. Like I said, when they announced the sheep, they were probably already well into other stuff, and they cloned Tyrone and stuff. But yeah. Wrangler says sounds like another potential contestant for an Erez Arena video. Is that your death battle segment, Wrangler? He's the only one I've seen in the indie sphere do like an old school comparison of like indie characters like taking on basically fighting each other. You know what I mean? Those old nerd conversations like, oh, Batman would beat up Superman any day. You know what I mean?
Like Chris Fraction does those battles. The indie battles,
something like that. And if you're familiar with Death Battle on YouTube,
what about Celebrity Deathmatch?
That's another good one. Holy crap, that was a good show. Oh my goodness, dude, I want that back.
That became popular actually. Chris's post where he has indie battles. I think he put Weaponized Werewolf against a few different characters. I won a couple battles, but then got beat eventually. But it's fun, it's all fun, and then it gets promotion for your comic. People see your character or whatever. It's exposure, and it's fun. Yeah. That's what we need to bring it back to fun.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I'm sick of hearing bitching about this. DC made this character gay and did this and that. I already know. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done with them.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's going to get worse.
To talk about. I'm done.
It's going to get worse. They're going to keep parading the corpse around, and that's how it is.
They just keep beating the dead horse. How many times can they do the same thing over and over again? It's like a one-trick pony show, Yeah, I just want everybody out there, to have fun with my books. Simple as that. Yeah, it sounds interesting doing battle videos and stuff like that. I also used to do conspiracy videos on my channel, but seems like YouTube likes to not really blacklist, but they kind of like bury you in the search, especially if you're doing like a topic like the Denver airport or something like that. It seems like they just buried all the controversial topics. But yeah, if you're not going to have fun, reading a comic book or just being in the comic book industry or scene, what's the point? Why are you here? Yeah, I'm in Denver right now, so I know a lot about the airport, how they just made an extra building on accident. Like I don't remember how many stories, but then they decided to bury it. How do engineers making millions of dollars on a project or whatever accidentally make like a 9-story building, extra one?
And why is it connected? Why is it connected to like other states? Those tunnels. Yeah, dude. It's weird. It's super weird.
And a demon horse with glowing red eyes in front of an airport is kind of odd. I gotta say.
You mean Lucifer? Okay,
Yeah,
so
Lucifer.
we got to get through your comics so we can delve into this, because that can be a whole plot for your thing. There's no short. That's what I was gonna say. There's no shortage of inspiration. This is part. I'm telling you right now. This is part of why people backed it, because Baron gave you the elevator pitch of a lifetime with the dope smoking fox takes on the government. Because think about that. He outfoxes the government, right? He outfoxes them. Yeah, and then like there's the whole. This is the first picture, by the way, right?
Yeah, it's the first mock-up cover that I was doing. I'm not the greatest artist, but originally he has like this nerdy friend, kind of gets picked on and wears glasses.
Yeah.
And I decided to kind of like ditch that idea. But in Smokes 2, he's gonna have a new friend, and it's gonna be a female, and it's a goth chick.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm gonna bring a little bit of sex appeal to the comic, but there's gonna be no interspecies erotica or anything like that.
No.
It's gonna be kind of like April O'Neil to the Turtles.
You can hang a lantern on that and have fun with it too, with a little bit more dark comedy. Like I don't know how the situation would present itself, but you can literally have her like turn over to him and be like, or vice versa, and be like, but gross, you're a human. You know what I mean? Or like gross, you're like part dog. You know, like you can hang a lantern on it in some way.
Well, I want to end up like what is it? What the hell was that movie? Where she has sex with the duck.
Yeah, you don't want to get, to that.
What was that? The girl from Back to the Future has sex with the duck. Howard the Duck movie back in the 80s.
Oh my god!
I'm not doing that. I'm not going there.
Yeah. Don't go there. But you know, another clever way to subtly hang a lantern on it is if he conveniently runs into a female fox hybrid, or like
no. People kept saying
canine.
you're gonna add a fox female. I don't think I'm gonna do that. No.
Well, it doesn't
that's
have
what
to be a
destroyed the
fox.
Turtles, man. That's what destroyed Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird,
Okay.
because they made a female. He got really mad because he made a female turtle. Kind of was like a betrayal.
Well, bro, here's the kicker. Once he makes enough noise outfoxing the government with his dope smoking antics, the government eventually gets wise to that and tries to convince this masculine male alpha fox the best way they can, and that's with a honey trap, right? A honey trap. A honey trap. You got to get that female in there to try to allure him, right? And what better than any sort of canine hybrid, really, as long as she's seducing him. I don't know.
These pictures right here are from a Weaponized Werewolf. That's Sepoy right there on the top. He's a gray alien, and he's basically showing you a glimpse into his world, what happened on his planet. And there's a reason
cool.
why.
So it's like through his eyes.
Yeah, like it's like a flashback kind of. He's kind of telling the story and it's showing you what happened. And he needs these hybrids for a reason, which you don't know yet. But you find out later on. But it's a very evolved story. There's two alien races actually in issue 2. It goes off the rails in issue 2. Let's put it that way. This is just the beginning. You know what I mean? Mike likes to build up his stories slowly, but it builds up. You can read them in any order, I guess. You can read Smokes or Weaponized Werewolf in either order, but depending on how you want to read it, if you want to go to the story, then go back to the prequel. Some movies, start at the prequel, or I guess it depends.
Right.
Oh, my cat is puking.
Yeah. You get that. This was a good picture here. Is your cat all right? You didn't need
no, I just puked. I'll pick it up in a second. But that's by Jay Lee. He's a friend of mine. I've known Jay Lee for a long time. I've been meeting him at conventions and getting commissions from him, and I've got just about everything I've ever wanted from him. And I'm like, Jay, will you just draw my character? And I had these sketch covers. And he said, sure. Believe it or not, I was an invited guest at Colorado Springs Con, and I was listed on the same page as Jay Lee and Mike Barron and a bunch of other people. I never should have been even near them, but I was like on the same page as an invited guest to the show, and it was just amazing. You know what I mean? You never know what can happen
Right.
in comics or where in your life or whatever.
Yeah.
So I met him the next year. Then I had him draw a weaponized werewolf.
Oh, same dude here then? Yeah, it does
Yes,
look like
yeah.
similar
Jay
style.
Lee did both of them. He won't let me publish them, so these are just personal sketches. They're not really, something he spent time on it, but it's not like published work. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be published. They're like sketches for him.
Yeah.
But I do want to get, a published piece from him one day.
Yeah,
You know what
dude.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal because I'm one of his top fans. I just love Jay Lee. But I'm
Oh,
running
yeah.
low on all these comics, so anybody out there who's watching this and you're thinking about getting one, get one because they are running out. I have a box of comics and they're slowly dwindling. I do have like different variations. I have like the sketch covers you were just looking at, and I have virgin covers, which are really rare. I only made a couple of dozen or so of those. But I try to make everything collectible and high quality, like something I would want. And I'm going to ship everybody, in a Gemini with a backing board. You're not going to get a bent comic. I do all my shipping. Um, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a cosplay right there. That came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's Shay. That's actually a woman under there, believe it or not.
I believe it. I believe it.
And she did a great job without making my comic look like a furry. That's another thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I didn't know what the hell a
Yeah.
furry was when I made my comic. I think they were around, but they weren't like a big thing. But
It's
I never
this right
heard of
here.
them.
That's what it is. It's basically this here. No, it's
Yeah.
anthropomorphized. Yeah, dude. Yeah, they exist, and anybody who does even a semi cool concept like this with people, animals, unfortunately the thought infects it from the outside.
Yes,
So
that's
be ready.
that's
Be ready.
yeah. Actually got someone put me on blast. I think a couple years ago when I whatever
And they will. And they always
on
will.
Kiwi Farm saying that I was trying to promote furryism or something. I laughed. You know what I mean? I have no agenda for my comic except have a good time and you know passion behind my books, my comics. I won't put it out if I'm not happy with it. It's not coming out. So I don't have a deadline for my next book. When it's ready, it's ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no deadline on something like that. I got my name on the line, and I just I want to give it all. I don't want to half-ass anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
That's
want
kind
you
of where
guys
I'm
to
at
have
with mine
fun.
too. Yeah.
Maybe you can run
I
that trailer so you can kind of like
yeah,
shows.
of course, yes. The trailer, of course. Justin, stick around for a minute. Can you hear it?
Maybe a little louder. There you go.
I like that. Oh, that was cool. Awesome.
I did write that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, I did my own too. It's
I didn't make it. I just wrote the
yeah.
words for it and kind of like, well, I won't say directed it, but like gave a lot of input, I guess.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I wish that I maybe put like talked over it or whatever, had somebody like hired somebody to do the vocals or something.
Mhm.
But I had no
Mhm.
idea what Smokes would sound like.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
one day maybe I'll have a contest to see, like a Smokes voice contest or something like that. When you hear it, it's kind of like Bart Simpson when that
Yep.
girl, whatever, did the voice for him, and the guy just heard it and he knew that was
Yep.
it.
Yep.
That's what I want
Yep.
to. I want to have that moment with my character, I think.
And run away with it too. Like get a. I don't know how to do it. You could do. You can maybe do like some sort of virtual comic. I could see that. Uh, you ever see those?
Virtual comic.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like this, right? You got the right all the elements of the idea is here.
Uh
You
huh.
could essentially go through the comic panel by panel in a similar video like this, where I mean, depending on how much work you want to put into it or how much production value, you could have like all the images moving slightly or whatever.
Oh, like an animated kind of like an animated comic,
Kind of like, yeah, like it's not like full on animation, right? But it's like you could do some sort of like like video
like
comic.
effects, like
Yeah,
special effects kind of on the
right,
panels.
right.
I know
And
what you're
then
talking about.
and then you essentially get like a voice actor and stuff and like go through the panels. And I mean, you could even do the panels blank and then like the bubbles appear on there. Sorry, there's a commotion over here. I think
Yeah, we're both
my
having
dog.
animal issues.
Yeah, the dog just like started barking at something outside. But anyway, sorry. I envision it like the panel's blank, and then as the narrator speaks it like appears. You see
Oh,
the bubbles kind of slowly appear, and then maybe the characters are moving just slightly, and it goes to the next panel, and it's basically going through the comic. Yeah, Wrangler, like Ruthless. If you're familiar with Ruthless, he kind of does that.
JP.
Yeah, JVP.
Yeah. We had him on the Man Cave. I know what you're talking
Oh,
about. I think Corey Barton is going to be doing some drawings for that.
cool, dude.
I know
Cool,
what you're
dude.
talking about now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, something
that's
like
pretty
that.
cool.
I don't know how you would sell that or in what format. It would have to be like a movie, I'm guessing. I don't know. And sold as such. Like, I don't know if it would be on Amazon or like iTunes or what.
Well, a crazy story about that is when I was working on Weaponized Werewolf, I only had the cover made and I only had the black and white art by Tim Vigil. And I sent it to Mike and I was like, Mike, don't share this yet. I'm still working on my comic, whatever. But he like posted it on Facebook the next day. And then he gave me a call and he's like, Justin, I'm like, what? He's like, Shane likes it. Shane likes your book. And I was like, who the hell is Shane? He's like, Shane Black. And it wasn't really clicking with me. I was like, I wasn't sure who Shane Black was. And he was like, the director of Predator. And I was like, oh, he did a lot of some pretty good movies. He did, I think, Lethal Weapon, the first
Yeah,
couple of them, and
he's just
maybe the
like one
first.
of the legends of Hollywood. No big deal.
Yeah. And I know who he was. It all clicked after that, but I wasn't, And then he just said a simple sentence. It was like, "This looks cool" or something. Where can I get it? Or something like that. It was very quick.
Mhm.
But it was early on. I didn't even have any pages drawn, just the cover.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I never got a chance to give a copy to him, but he wanted to back it. And then just that alone, just that one comment kind of like put a fire under me, you know what I mean? And gave me a lot of confidence in creating the comic. You just need like one thing or one person to, push you into. You need just the support of, a few can push you to great things. I think, you know what I mean? You just need a little help sometimes. I mean, I know it's good to do things on your own, but sometimes you
Yeah.
just need a little help to
I've had a lot of quotes from shows that I've been appearing on lately, coming out of the woodwork here, talking about me talking about independence a lot. But like, yeah, I can't stress enough how much community matters too. Like, for example, what are we doing right now? Like, we're exchanging spots on our shows, and we're participating in community and supporting each other. Even though, I mean, this is the first time we've spoken face to face, and I mean, look at
yeah, it's good to
it's
meet
just
people in your community and see what they're up to.
yeah,
people that have the same interests. Not not everybody in the world likes comic books. It's good to talk to people that enjoy it, enjoy your hobby. You got to have something that makes you happy, and if you don't, you're just going to be miserable in this world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And comic books is one of the few things that makes me happy. Before that, I was in the music industry, believe it or not. I was
Same.
putting out records. I'm not a musician or anything, but I was signing small record deals and stuff, and putting out comics, or not comic. I mean records,
That's
CDs.
interesting. Yeah.
Then I later on got out of it because it was stressful, and and comic books is more stressful because you're dealing with artists, but a different type of artist.
Yeah, and a lot of money. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
But it's not. I mean, you can bump heads with people once in a while, but as long as you're on the same page and you guys get along, and you guys are both want to make the best product you can and put out a good comic book. There's nothing wrong with arguing once in a while or whatever, not getting along. But
Yep.
I'm not out to start drama or trouble with anyone, but
Exactly. Yeah.
nobody's perfect.
We
Every
all have our
tweet I've ever
moments.
made, we have our moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
And-
want to have fun and just create.
Mm-hmm. We're entitled to opinions, like it's okay to have them. It's a thing. Like this, a lot of people think that this is an intentionally evil statue put outside of Denver Airport here.
Well, they say it's to prevent bad energy or whatever from coming in, or
whatever.
protect the airport from evil or whatever it is. I don't know about that.
Yeah, wouldn't you, instead of making it a pale horse of the apocalypse, which is what it is, the pale, geez, dude, wouldn't you make it something more inspirational, angelic looking, divine? I don't know. A pale horse of the apocalypse, though. Nice. People call it Blucifer.
Yeah, Blucifer. There's even a video game that was made where you destroy Denver or something as Blucifer. You shoot laser out of your eyes. It looked pretty fun, actually. I did a whole episode on the Denver airport, and I think it got 10 views, and every other conspiracy episode I did got 40, 50, 60, 70 views, but this one only got 10. So I think it was buried by the YouTube censors or whatever. I don't think it was blacklisted, but it was just heavily buried so no one can find it unless they know where it is.
Oh, they could for sure, because think about it, they can for sure just simply not promote it. I mean,
yeah,
it's just that simple. Oops, oops, it just it didn't. I don't know what to tell you, man. It just didn't work out. Sorry, And
just the whole thing is strange, going billions of dollars over budget, and the original what's it called, the luggage conveyor belt system.
Yeah,
they couldn't get it to work supposedly, and it cost I don't know how many millions of dollars, and they decided, instead of fixing it, let's make a brand new one somewhere else, near it, not same place. This mural right here with the guy with the AK-47 or whatever, and the gas mask, and a bunch of caskets and kids inside the coffins.
Yep. He's piercing a dove, which is a symbol for peace. It's pretty intense. I think they've taken a lot of this down, but it doesn't change the fact that it was still there.
And there was a gargoyle when you go to pick up your luggage.
Yep.
You won't see it unless you're really looking, because it's up there. It's probably about 15 feet or higher above the floor, so it's on a shelf. Yeah, right there. Yeah. And it's just chilling there. And if you don't look up, you'll never notice it. But it's looking, looking down on you and looking at everybody, while they're collecting their luggage or waiting for it to come.
Yeah, sticking its tongue out at you, looking down.
Yeah, and then later on they made fun of themselves and made it move or something. They made a gargoyle that can move, and they had a comedian talk, and they would make jokes when people walk by it.
Yeah,
it wasn't the same gargoyle, but it looked like the same gargoyle, and it was animated.
And I mean, right here, it already looks like they're mocking you. You got Blucifer over here, which is kind of just blatantly mocking. You got the weird statue and architectures and star map on the Hoover Dam. You got the the Indian god of destruction in front of CERN. And I mean, the fact that that's their reaction is to just make fun of everybody for pointing out the obvious is it just kind of like is more solidifying to it. It's like, yeah, that's how they actually feel. Like this gargoyle here sticking its tongue out at you right here.
It's so bizarre.
They're just like, yeah, we're doing it. We're going to just make fun of it. That's how.
And it's out in the middle of nowhere too. This airport, you have to go quite a ways.
Yeah.
I'm about, I don't know, 40 minutes from there, something like that. But it's out in the middle of, nowhere. The old airport was easy to get to. It wasn't around when I moved here, but Stapleton or whatever, it made sense. It was like outside the outskirts of the city, but this one is like way out there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's nowhere near like major cities and stuff.
Yeah, you'd think that would be like it would be easier to get to, or they'd have easier access to it, but they decided to make it like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, dude. For some reason, they needed the space.
Yeah, and they just make an extra building on accident, and then say, "Oh, we're just gonna bury it."
Yeah, you see this
swastika?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
No,
Admiral Byrd said that's what the aliens and the Hollow Earth were rocking too.
Oh yeah, on the ship supposedly.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, supposedly. Yeah.
The leader or something they was called.
Yeah, the something like that. The leader or the
the leader, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's a crazy story. Yeah, we did an episode on that, and we had Paul Byrd on, who is a descendant.
Ooh, that's a good idea, dude. What did he know? What did he say?
It's just in his family. He's not like close related to him. He's like a distant relative, but he's intrigued by it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode to do, and just such a crazy story, And then if it's not true, why would the son, die mysteriously in that warehouse naked? If it wasn't true, they just laugh at him. You know what I mean?
That happens so much. Look at you can look at the long list. It's quite a long list of inventors specifically. This is where it's really like terrifying, is when you look at the inventors, because it's like as soon as the government gets wind of it, they come in, they swoop up the patent, or like the person just mysteriously disappears, and then they confiscate everything in their life and claim that they never really had an interest in the person.
There was a guy in Buffalo who happened to go to a grocery store or something, and there was like a mass shooter just happened to go into the same grocery store he was in. And he just happens to get shot out of all the people in that grocery store, and he just happens to be working on a car that runs on water or something like that.
That was
hydrogen or whatever it was.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then he just happened to be, have bad luck and be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
That's the best way you can put it. That's the most genuine. That is the most genuine way to put that, is like, that is just some really bad luck, because anything else is going in a different direction. So, and it's looking like pretty purposeful. Like it is just so convenient, doesn't it? That just like hundreds of people just. It's like
it was strange, man. It was the whole thing. But yeah, they do that. They usually they try to buy the patent first, and then if that doesn't work, then they try other means, which is usually just eliminating them or whatever, because they're like, no way, I'm not selling that to you. I'm going to make millions and millions of dollars. And they just want to buy it to hide it. They don't want it to come out.
And if they can just delete you and suppress, then there you go. Like Tesla's 80. I think Tesla had like 80 trunks. They had two 3-letter agency people staying in the room across from him in the New Yorker hotel, just spying on him day and night. Yeah, just spying on him day and night. And like the moment he died, they were in his room confiscating his trunks with all of his stuff, his information. So the government got their hands on that.
I think he was in Colorado Springs area for a while.
He was, yeah. He made his rounds, and like in Colorado Springs, I think is where he had one of his laboratories. But later in his life, he was at the New Yorker hotel. Apparently, he was penniless, but somehow living in like this castle of a hotel, living in it. And not only that,
really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And,
I thought he was in the Niagara Falls in that area. I think he had a lab out there or something too. He was trying to like harness the energy from Niagara Falls or whatever he was trying to do.
Yeah.
At one point in his life,
Hmm.
something like that.
A lot of weird stuff like that, man. And it's funny that Tesla got brought up because it's kind of the same thing that your heart is doing. You know what I was talking about earlier with the magnetic fields. He, like his Wardenclyffe Tower in Colorado Springs, for example, he specifically wanted to build that on top of underwater rivers. Essentially, there's
Mhm.
water flowing underground, and it's kind of creating that same idea as what I'm talking about with your heart. It's like a natural. There's the same types of stuff going on there, and it's that movement of liquid. I think just like filling and compressing, like and over and over. I don't know what the proper terms are because I'm just a lowly writer and comic book creator.
Lonely Red.
But but yeah, he chose those spots because apparently you could harness natural energy,
Free energy or whatever they called it. And
and wireless too. Yeah.
yep, wireless free energy, and can broadcast the energy to one tower to the other or whatever he was doing, the array of towers.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically could set up a network around the earth and
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Kinda
get
like
free energy, kind of like Wi-Fi energy.
the Starlink version of just power, and they
Yeah.
have shown like at places like Harvard and stuff, they've done wireless. Essentially, you power something from across the room with no wires. And I mean, when you think about what Wi-Fi is and stuff and radio, I mean, it's not really that far-fetched. I mean, yeah, it's
No.
hard it's hard to send power, but like he figured it out, and it's been recreated several times by many people, especially recently especially after like Elon bought Tesla company. Everybody
Oh.
has a Tesla now. Like people know about it. But yeah, my whole point, his Wardenclyffe Tower, or sorry, the New Yorker hotel is suspiciously kind of tower-like, so people have conspiracy theories that he was still doing experiments there in secret while being spied on. And there's like, he had 80 trunks filled with documents and blueprints and
80
patents and stuff.
Yeah, I
80
heard like Trump's descendant or
Trump's.
relative was one of the first person on the scene to grab
Yeah.
that
John
stuff.
G. Trump. John
Was
G.
it?
Trump.
Yeah, one of the Trumps. And then there's like this whole crazy thing where there's that book that was written about time travel and it has Baron Trump's name in it and all that stuff.
Dude,
You ever hear about that stuff?
I did. He wrote a whole like novel, and it's this weird, oddly familiar sounding future.
Yeah, and
Yeah, dude.
and
Like,
supposedly, Tesla invented portals or whatever, teleportation,
Philadelphia experiment.
stuff like
That
that.
was-
Yeah, and then later on,
that's
they
what-
took this paperwork and continued his research, or whatever. Probably
Yep.
was given to top scientists and continued his work after he passed away. And I don't know, supposedly in the 60s, we were able to teleport and jump from one place to another using that technology.
Mhm.
Who's to say that we didn't?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to speculate. Occam's razor either way, right? You can, you can say it's not worth investing thought into, or you could easily say it's like definitely worth investing thought into because it's so hard to prove that it didn't happen with what evidence is there or whatever. Fantastic stuff though. Like the 80 trunks, it just makes me think like he had like an electric car that could go 60 miles an hour in the 1890s. That's a fact. Yeah. He invented torpedoes, a whole number of things, like just crazy stuff you wouldn't even think about, like torpedoes in the 1800s. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. So, and you confiscate all that, goes to the government, like you said, it disseminates one way or another, and it just gets misplaced, which is.
But he got a little crazy. He said that he actually communicated with Grays, I think, at one time or something like that.
He did.
And
say
then
that, yeah.
then people around him are like, all right, he's getting a little crazy now, But who's to say that maybe he was getting some kind of information somehow like that?
He was obsessed with signals and stuff and listening to
Yeah.
the cosmic frequencies. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. But then also Edison had a whole a propaganda smear campaign against him too.
Oh, electricity, it's that it can kill people or whatever, that whole thing
And-
you're talking about.
Yeah, and also that he's crazy and talks.
Oh,
to-
that he's crazy and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. which is sad. But I mean, I think
I guess all geniuses got to be a little crazy or
yeah,
out
right.
there.
Yeah.
Who knows, like how many things he might have invented that were like just notes in his book that someone
Yep.
else took and took that idea and made it into something else, or
Mhm.
created what he just wrote down. You know, there could be like this forgotten ideas that he just wrote one night, and then it's on one page, and then someone just discovers it, and then they start working on it or whatever,
Yeah, dude.
thinking of a way to weaponize it or
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yep.
But
And it's the same
I
with
mean,
the World War II stuff that we confiscated from the bad guys there. Probably the same stuff we probably found. Think about it. Two entire country. Japan wasn't necessarily looted, but like Germany was looted. They were just like that country was like pulled apart by the rest of the world. So like, I mean, essentially we could have gotten our hands on anything we wanted, right? Like they surrendered. That was it. Like they did a no, so we can do whatever we want now. And we probably took not only all the scientists with Project Paperclip is common knowledge now, but like everything that goes along with it, right? Like every single military thing, like a lot of the treasure, any artifacts, because they were obsessed with the ancient occult and stuff like that. Fascinating stuff to think about. America
yeah.
has a lot of stuff. That's all I gotta say.
Where the hell were you when I was doing my conspiracy show?
I know, dude. I'm right here, man. I'm right here. We know each other now. So, yeah. If you think conspiracies, let me in because, dude, me and my wife do a TikTok watch with us type show. And a lot of it is just conspiracy stuff. Like TikTok goes hard on it. And yeah, I'm not into a lot of them, but I could tell you a lot of stuff about like flat Earth, the fake moon, like how you didn't go to the moon
My
landing.
brother's a flat earther, but I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet or anything like that. But I never bought the idea when like what my teachers would say that the Earth is spinning at like whatever 100,000 miles per hour, whatever the hell it was.
Mhm.
I don't believe that. I
Yeah.
don't know. It doesn't seem to me like we're spinning like that or whatever at that
Mhm.
speed.
Because when you spin,
I don't
everything is
buy it.
pulled out, right? When something spins, like think of water going off
Mhm.
of a basketball, everything's pushed outward, right? Is what I think. So yeah, like if we're spinning like that, why do we just stay tight to the earth? But I mean, I
I
don't
don't
know.
buy it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I buy the whole flat Earth, but I don't buy that. What they're telling us either. It could be
Yeah.
something in between, or who
Yeah.
God knows. But
The
I don't
truth is
trust.
the truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure. But yeah, dude, thanks for coming on. I'm gonna
Yeah,
hop over
appreciate it.
to Comic Shop Wednesdays and continue supporting some indies here. But like, yeah, you have any closing things you want to say before we take off?
Just check out Smokes the Fox on Fund My Comic. All backers get 2 books. You get Weaponized Werewolf, which is the prequel, and it's $20 plus shipping for both books. You're gonna get 2 stickers by 6 a.m. They come bagged and boarded, and if you want them signed, I sign them for no extra charge. You have the option. I know some people don't like you writing on a comic book or whatever. I understand that. Some people like to buy both. They want one signed and they don't want the other one signed or whatever. So
Yeah.
I could do that too. So yeah, I just appreciate you having me on, and I like talking about conspiracies and stuff.
Yeah,
So
same, man.
that was,
Yeah.
rather
And
than just
comics
go
too.
over the same thing over and over again on every show and just tell the same story, how I met Mike Barron, how I did this,
Yeah.
I want to switch, try to switch it up for every show to make it a little bit unique because I've been doing like over 100 of these,
Yeah.
trying to get out there. I don't want to like sound like a broken record and just keep repeating the same key lines, and
Yeah.
same stuff. Yeah, I just want
Yeah.
everybody to have fun. If you're creating comic books, just have fun and do what you want to do. Don't have anybody tell you can't do this or can't do that. You know, I was told, I shouldn't have weed in my comics. It's gonna people are not gonna buy. It's gonna turn off people from buying it. It might actually turn on people to buy it too.
Yep.
On the other hand, um, do what you want to do and you go to the direction you want to go. Um, of course, take input from other people. Doesn't mean you have to, do everything someone
Right.
says, but
Right.
you should be open to input and just create. Being good to one another. If you don't like something, just keep it to yourself. Or you think somebody's comic shit or whatever, you don't like it, or you don't like the creator or whatever, just keep it to yourself. I don't know, if you don't like a movie or whatever, why talk about it? Why post about it? Why talk about Star Wars being beat to death or whatever. I don't try to focus on positive things. I know sometimes I can go negative too, and I need to get slapped in the face once in a while and just and think and do think positively. And I think it's about your mindset. You know what I mean? Just keep doing what you're doing and enjoy yourself and do what you want to do and do what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Pretty-
Yeah, I
pretty
couldn't
much.
have said it better, man. Amen. Amen, brother.
It was
Yeah.
nice to meet you, and I appreciate you having me on your platform.
Same to you,
Um,
brother. Can't wait to
I'm glad that
join
you're
your
out there helping other creators, even though you're new kind of on the scene, but you're still
Right.
you're out there, pushing. And by you helping others, you're gonna grow. You're gonna get more subs. You're gonna get bigger guests. You're gonna get people are gonna know who you are.
I'm gonna try. I've
And
already seen a little bit of momentum with my campaign. Just the little
yeah,
first initial push I did, I've gotten a few random tags and invites. And
so
stuff,
you just got to get noticed. No one no one knows who you are until they see your stuff, and
Yep.
they have to connect with you as a person too. So doing live streams is very important. You know what I mean? Talking to you in a DM, it's not the same as me and you sitting here and talking. It's nowhere near the same
Exactly.
thing. So I had no idea how you were going to be. I didn't know you were into, conspiracies and this kind of thing.
Yeah,
So I had a great time and good conversation. I wish I was higher for this conversation, but I didn't smoke that much.
I had
But
a little before, but
I figured you might have had some. I
a
was like,
couple
"Damn."
hours before, a couple hours later, it's like, it's about round 2 time over here.
But I'll see you soon on the Man Cave.
Yes, sir.
We do that
Yes.
Thursday nights on my channel, Belmont Press Comics on YouTube, and my co-host is Mr. Good Stuff, and we just have a fun time and just joke around and promote indie comics, and that's about it.
I'm gonna jump on that.
That's
and
what it's
watch
all
a
about.
couple episodes beforehand. Sub to it.
It's not for everybody, I'll tell you that. There'll be a creator here and there that will see that and like, no way am I getting on that. So it's not for everyone.
Mhm.
Definitely not for everyone, but
We'll see. I'm pretty laid back. After
I think you'll have a fun time.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. But anyway, man. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks again,
Thank you.
everybody.
See you
everybody
soon.
else. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.